On Press Perspective today, we track the rise of K-beauty as a tangible economic engine for South Korea. Do stay with us. Hello and welcome to Press Perspective. It is Thursday, January 15th here in Seoul. I'm Min Sunhee. Today we take a deep dive into K-beauty, including its wellness initiatives. More on this, I have Fabian Kretschmer with German press agency DPA here in the studio. Fabian, welcome.
Thank you.
I also have Marianna Baroli with Italian weekly news magazine Panorama live on the line. Marianna, it's been a while. It's great to have you on.
Hi, Sunny. Nice to see you again. Thank you.
Right. We shall start here in the studio. Fabian, let's begin with details of a coverage by BBC regarding the economic power of K-beauty and your takeaways.
Yeah, the BBC did a very comprehensive research on the K-beauty industry and the economic impact. There were some really interesting numbers. So the domestic market here in Korea is valued at $13 billion in 2024. We don't have the new numbers for 2025, but it's really of huge significance. And that is only the domestic aspect. Korean beauty companies are exporting a lot. Actually, they just dethroned France as becoming the second biggest exporter in the world after the US. I mean, that's quite something. French beauty companies, they are the traditional players, and now a new player is rising very fast. The BBC article noted also several specifics why Korean beauty products are specifically popular. It mentioned the very unique ingredients. For example, one specific product was mentioned, a serum infused with snail mucin. I mean, it's kind of creative, but also very traditional. Yeah, the marketing of K-beauty products, I would say, is relatively innovative and specifically targeting Gen Zs. For example, on TikTok, there are many viral trends connected to K-beauty products. And then there's also one specific industrial aspect of it. The K-beauty industry is run by chaebol, by the big conglomerates mostly. That is very typical for Korea and also for semiconductors. It's the big conglomerates who run the show and not this medium-sized enterprises. Maybe just very briefly, my take is also that now K-beauty is getting very popular all over the world, but actually the obsession among Koreans for beauty, I think, is already very, very old. And just give you one example. If you walk through central Seoul in the Jongdo area, you also see sometimes older senior, like over 80-year-old men who are dressed in very neat suits and dandy style. And it's kind of impressive that even the older generation sometimes is very fashionably aware and very trendy.
Right. Marianna, within K-beauty, of course, there is K-skincare. And K-skincare is reportedly taking over the world, if you mean, especially online virally. What do you believe are the unique aspects, if you will, of K-skincare?
What I always say when I'm talking about the Korean skincare is that Korean skincare isn't just skincare, it's a whole mindset. So almost like a lifestyle philosophy. So in Korea, people like approach their skin the same way they approach their well-being, with consistency, patience, and like a very obsessive attention to comfort, not in a bad way, but a very obsessive attention. So, you know, if a product feels sticky or like very heavy, Korean people won't touch it, and that is exporting also from people to people abroad, because we're pushing brands to innovate texture and make them light, silky, almost addictive, you know, touch. But there's another layer that people doesn't see from the outside, which is technology. You talked about that before, and CES, I think, this year has shown that. So skincare is not just about formulas, but also devices. So AI tools and LED mask and home care technologies, all these things that makes it like your bathroom feel like being in a dermatology studio in some kind of way. So we were talking about CES before, like companies dominated the beauty tech conversation, and with Amore Pacific winning the Innovation Award, I think it's a huge sign. And their SkinSight platform, which is incredible because it shows that like how far the industry has gone right now. So thinking that now you can analyze aging signals and in real time, and elasticity, texture, micro wrinkles, and all these kind of things that it were impossible to check before, like with in real time, it's amazing. And also it tailors routines based on your lifestyle and the environmental factors. So it's not a generic advice. So I think that skincare is taking a leap forward again. And having feedback instantly, it's very, very useful because now you can see what products you can use and what is best for you. And it also shows how brands evolve very speed and in a very futuristic way.
Right, indeed. As you said, quite a number of pundits spoke about how K-Beauty left its mark at this year's World Tech Show, the CES. Fabian, the Wall Street Journal claims beyond beauty, Korea's well-aging treatments have been seeing a great American foot traffic to South Korea. Could you tell us more about this reality and what you've been observing on the ground?
Yeah, actually, already for the last 20 years, I would say, foreign tourists come here to Korea specifically for seeking some kind of cosmetic treatment. But I think it has just really becoming much more diverse. Not only that, back in the days, it was mostly Chinese people coming to Seoul, specifically to the Apgujeong area in Gangnam, to get, for example, some cosmetic surgery. Now there are much more like spa services, skincare treatments, and the people who come here are increasingly also often from the US, and that is, I would say, new. The Wall Street Journal, for example, was running an article, and the author, she herself, tried some anti-aging care here in Seoul, and she was quite impressed. And I think the reason why people come here from abroad is first, I mean, the reputation. K-beauty is a big thing. People see that, you know, in Korea, there's much experience also of how to treat beauty, how to treat skin. And so I think that's the competency is here, like the experience. Then, of course, there's a lot of infrastructure, the whole like tourism infrastructure. Some beauty tourism, they create whole package deals that you get picked up from the airport, then driven to your hotel, and everything is very easy here and convenient. And price-wise, I would say it's relatively competitive. Yeah.
Right. Marianna, if I were to ask you to highlight the reasons behind the rising global interest in K-beauty, what would you choose to underscore?
As Fabian was said, the competency, I think it's that one of the biggest value, but also I think how holistic it feels. You know, it's very different from how we see it abroad, because Korea doesn't treat aging like something to fight as we do, but as something to navigate gracefully with. And I think it's very refreshing for so many people that like very tired of being aggressive messaging, like, or you're getting old, so you use some cream, blah, blah, blah. So the whole idea of well-aging, I think that resonates a lot abroad, and it's one of the main success. And also because I think it feels kinder and more realistic. So you take care of your skin today, but you have to thank for that tomorrow. So it's a very, very realistic approach. And then I think there is the cultural dimension, also with people watching K-pop and K-dramas and reality shows where you see people with this skin that looks fresh, glowing, always very natural. I think that that kind of narrative shapes expectation everywhere. So increase the popularity of this kind of K-beauty and K skincare. So at the same time, I think also the brands are very, very reactive for that, with studying consumer behavior and you know, if one ingredient goes viral, this is the next big thing. So I think that are the main reasons why K-beauty is rising so fast.
Right, and perhaps expanding on what Marianna has just said, Fabian, what more can you tell us about the impact of K-culture on perhaps influencing beauty standards worldwide?
Yeah, well, when I compare to back when I was young, I would say that in Europe we mostly looked maybe towards America because the pop culture came from there, the influence, the trends, the celebrities. When I look at the young people now, I would say that the trends come from East Asia often. I mean, in Seoul on the street, like fashion-wise, for example, the clothes, the brands that the young people are wearing here, I think they are trend-setting, and then maybe next year you see that in Europe as well. At least in Germany, it's very obvious that the Korean aesthetic fits the zeitgeist, like it's kind of... for example, for male beauty, back in the days it was more like the classic masculinity, and now it's more like this androgynous look. I think that's maybe can be also influenced by Korea. Also the makeup and the colors. Yeah, in general, I would say the people here are much more fashion conscious compared to Europe, at least for my home country, I would say, for Germany. But you can see that because Korea has this reputation that, yeah, people have beautiful skin here. So whenever you go to a shop, a cosmetic, a beauty shop, you find a own category, an own section for Korean skincare products. And there you clearly see the influence. So I would say, yes, I mean, the influence doesn't only go one way, it's vice versa. You also see young people picking up trends from Europe after they're traveling or so, or after they check their Instagram followers. But in general, I would say now Korea is a big trendsetter.
Right. Marianna, on a more cautious note, there are some pundits who believe that the K-beauty market itself was fueled by the presence of lookism and intense competition in diverse fields. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's very true that Korea has a very competitive culture, both academically, professionally, socially, and I think that appearance plays a role in that dynamic, but I think that happens everywhere right now. So, and I think that if we frame K-beauty and K-skincare only as a reaction to lookism, we miss like a very deeper reality, because when I spend time, or when everyone spends time in Seoul as a foreigner and observe people daily routine, they realize that they retouching their makeup or like doing skincare slowly everywhere, basically everywhere, also in cafes and everything. So, and you realize that skincare is more than self-management, I think, and it's more tied to some discipline and balance, and also a mental well-being, probably being well with themselves plays a huge role on that. So people follow their routines because it helps them feels like, I think, in control and centered, and not because someone is forcing them to be close or chase perfection. And I think that also it changed very much in the last few years, and the beauty standards have very softened. So I saw that in Milan also, as Fabian was saying, we're very impacted by the Asian way and the Korean way of beauty and makeup and skincare and everything. So I think younger generation are seeing that, and they're pushing for like individuality. So different styles, different skin goals, different identities. Everybody knows what they do and what they need to do and what they want to use. So I think that the real driver of K-beauty is the boom of the culture, the Korean culture everywhere in the world, and its care and rituals.
Fabian, what about you? What are your thoughts with regard to the price of beauty, if you will, here in the country? Is it driving a divide of sorts, do you think?
Well, you can make that point. I mean, taking care of your beauty is costly. It takes a lot of time, effort, and money. And of course, if you already have a lot of money, you can also spend more on it. I think that is, to some degree, a problem that, you know, people in Korea have the feeling that they need to look beautiful also in terms of social capital in order to get a good job or leave a good impression. I mean, there's much more self-consciousness of I have to be perfect. And when you live in Seoul, I mean, and everyone around you looks gorgeous, the hair is perfect, the makeup is perfect. If you have the feeling that you don't fit in, that you don't meet those standards, who are arguably very high, it's easy to feel kind of judged or not good enough. So I would say say the obsession with beauty does have also a more darker side. And I mean, at least with my life experience, and we have a lot of younger viewers, I'm sure, I would say that, I mean, if you're happy, testing a lot of beauty products, I mean, that's good, and it's a part of your maybe individuality and creativity. But in the end, it's not about that. I think beauty really comes more from within and how you feel and what kind of treatments you use. I think that this is only a superficial level, in my opinion.
Right, so you can't just be skin deep then. Marianna, some observers have shared concerns about the prospects of the K-beauty market, especially amid Mr. Trump's tariffs. What have you been hearing, and what are the variables ahead, do you think?
I think there's definitely some tension around the idea of new tariffs, because the US is obviously one of the major markets with huge visibility for K-beauty, but I also saw that brands are running simulation review supply chains and trying to understand how pricing might shift in short term. But I don't think that the brands are panicking, because Korean beauty is actually an industry that survived major political turbulence. So flexibility is part of their DNA. And to be honest with you, Sunny, I think that K-beauty today is not like more dependent on one single region. So we cannot just look at the US. So South Asia is booming. Europe is reconnecting with Korean brands very strongly. Middle East as well is becoming a real hub for luxury, skincare and everything. And also the domestic demand remains incredibly strong as well. And I think that especially also and always often softens international shocks. So yes, tariffs may cause delays, adjustments, but they won't erase the global demand for Korean innovation, as long as Korea keep producing texture formulas, technologies that feels very ahead of the curve and ahead of everything. I think consumers will follow, tariffs or no tariffs, increasement or not.
Right, hopefully. Fabian, broadly speaking, do you see, there are people who say that K-beauty itself is also an example or a good impact on Korea's soft power, so to speak. That being said, do you see this particular market also perhaps positioning South Korea to take on a stronger middle power role going forward?
Yeah, I mean, that would be probably desirable for Korea. I mean, there's also competition. I mean, for example, in China, there's also a big trend now to boost their own domestic makeup brands, and they are getting, I think they learned a lot from the Korean example in terms of how the packaging is made, how the design, the aesthetics, the marketing, etc. So Korea does have competition, but I think so far it still has the lead. And why? Because of the cool reputation, the whole holistic, Korean wave that K-beauty is one part of. So I think they can benefit from the whole also pop culture trend. So in the future, yeah, it's definitely a middle power. South Korea, you have US, you have Europe, you have South Korea, you have also in the future more like Southeast Asian markets. So it's becoming a more global world.
Right, indeed it is. All right, on that positive note, we'll end today's talk. Fabian, as always, thank you very much for your time and your thoughts. Marianna, over in Italy, thank you very much for your insights today.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunny.
Right. Well, that ends this edition of Press Perspective. Thank you for watching. Do join us again same time tomorrow.